welcome to this episode of In a Car with IPR Post-Pandemic Edition. We're so excited to be here in Austin, Texas, and I'm here with my good friend and colleague, Dr. Natalie Tindall, who is a professor and director of the Stan Richards School of Advertising and Public Relations at the University of Texas at Austin. Hello, Natalie.
Hello, Tina. So glad to have you here in the great city of Austin.
Yes, the warm city of Austin.
It's incredibly hot out here. Yes.
So Austin is the live music capital of the world.
It is.
And home to a bunch of corporate entities like Whole Foods, Yeti, and Tesla just moved here as well. And
Exactly.
Oracle, I think.
Yes.
So it's a hot place to be.
And Dell as well. Yes.
Yes, and Dell. That's right. So what do you love about living in Austin?
I love living in Austin because I love living in state capitals. I'm a weird nerd like that.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So, but also too, Austin is just such a great place to live, play, work. It's a great place to be an educator because you have access to so many different things that can feed into what you do in your classroom. Also, Austin has the best food in the world. Or so that's what a lot of people here think, but it is a great place to eat, a great place to find barbecue. And also too, it's just a great place to live. It really is.
Okay, so I have an important question for you. You lived in Georgia, now you live in Texas. Whose barbecue is better?
Since I live in Texas and get paid by the state of Texas, I'm going to say the state of Texas has the best barbecue. Absolutely.
That's a very smart answer.
It's politically correct here. Right on.
All right, so here we are in front of a famous mural of Austin. Austin seems to have a lot of great murals.
It's a very creative place. It's amazing how much live music, how much art, how much culture is just here in this city.
Yeah, and they also have a Tom Petty mural, which, fun fact, is he's from Gainesville. So
He is?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I have a wealth of useless facts and information.
That's why we're friends.
There's many reasons why. So is there a pivotal moment in your career, what we call like a sliding doors moment, where you had an opportunity to take a different path, but you chose not to, and how that would have impacted your life?
I was in graduate school at the University of South Florida. I was deciding on whether I wanted to go into industry or academia. I literally had a Damascus moment in class where I just started crying and trying to figure out my life. And I think it terrified the guest speaker a lot too. But I would say that was where I made the decision to pursue my career in academia. Probably in that week of time, trying to make a decision between going out and doing all these interviews for industry or going out and following my dream of becoming an academic and going in, living the life of the mind, as we call it.
And we are better for it, for sure.
Thank you so much.
All right, I think we're going to hop somewhere else, so we'll see where we end up for the next shoot.
Fantastic.
All right, let's go.
To it.
Okay, so Natalie, you were one of the preeminent scholars, now eminent scholars.
Oh.
Do you like that? In diversity, equity, and inclusion. I remember you were doing research, especially like on LGBTQ plus population before really anybody else was in our industry.
Yeah.
Yes. And now you are the co-director of our center for the IPR Center for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, where we do our race in the PR classroom program. And we also did a study last year, Language of Diversity, which is now an award-winning study from the Diversity Action Alliance. So there we go, award-winning study.
Awesome.
So what do you see? What are some things that have changed since you first started doing your research in this area? And what has not changed?
That's a tough question. For so many years, I thought there was literally like a tour of us that just kept talking about diversity, equity, inclusion. And it got to be so tiring. And now we're seeing a resurgence and people are looking at these topics, looking from so many different angles. And that's incredibly important. And it brings more voices into the discussion because it was tiring being like one of 10 people constantly talking about this, constantly championing this. I think we are seeing more people focusing on aspects of identity and what that means in terms of corporate social responsibility, in terms of internal communications and all those types of things. And that's fantastic. What I am concerned about is that we are missing some aspects of identity in what we study. So, for example, accessibility and disability are two things that are incredibly important to me. And most people in the world are going to have a temporary or permanent disability, yet we don't talk about how that influences, how that identity feature, how that informs someone's understanding of messages, how they come into the workplace, how they feel psychological safety in the workplace. So those are two key topics I think that are really important that sort of get overshadowed or understudied, overshadowed, not looked at with as much intensity or vibrancy as some of the other diversity work that we're seeing done. I'm always terrified that there's such a focus and demand on this now because of what happened in 2020, post George Floyd, post Ahmaud Arbery, post Breonna Taylor, all those situations. I just have a feeling sometimes that with the coming changes in the market, people are going to say, well, we have to retract back and not do as much diversity work. We're not going to be focused on DE&I as much. We don't see the need for it because we're trying to preserve the institution, trying to preserve our brand, trying to preserve the organization. So there's always that fear of, we are making so much progress now and we're not even close to where we should be, but how much of that will be thwarted by economic realities too, and what companies are willing to do, what they're not willing to do.
Yeah, it seems like there's so many areas of interest that fall under the DEI umbrella, and each of those are so different in themselves. You take each letter. So I want to talk to you a little bit about identity and maybe talking about what that means to people, because I don't know if people necessarily understand when you're like identity, what.
And that's there's so much wrapped around the term identity, especially now in the political landscape. But identity really is the groups that you feel comfortable with. How do you identify yourself? How do you label yourself? And for many people, we have multiple identities. We have the identities that we are given, that society puts on us, and we have the identities that we choose to embrace. So on the outside looking in, I'd be labeled as a Black woman because of the ring on my finger. It's probably I'm a married woman. But I also identify with other different types of communities. I am a person who identifies strongly with the disability community and accessibility community because of my own challenges that are hidden that most people wouldn't know about. I also identify in different fandoms that people would not know about, like my Real Housewives fandom.
I know about your fandom.
You know about that fandom. But identity is really important because it gives you a lens into how people see the world. And everybody encounters the world differently, whether it's the design choices you like, the design things that you put forward with IPR, with other institutions, the choices you make in terms of the messaging and the words you use. All of those are influenced by our identities and our experiences. And we have to acknowledge that everybody doesn't come from the same perspective and point of view that we do.
And I think like the academic community and some of the scholars are really focused on identity, but I don't know how much that is getting translated into the industry.
It's probably not. We do a very horrible job of translation. Talk to the camera for a second. Sorry, academics, but I had to say it.
That's what IPR is for.
That's what IPR is here for. We spend a lot of time talking to each other. So it's literally preaching to the choir all the time. Trying to translate some of our work can be very hard to do, but I think it's incredibly important for a lot of the organizations that IPR works with or other entities that exist. We have to do a better job talking about identity because these are real things that your organization has to confront, of how these different groups, how they understand your message, what their relationship is to you, and how exactly do you adjust how the organization responds to some of these things. So we need to do a better job of it. And also to getting away from just thinking about identity as just straight marketing segmentation, like, oh, these are Black people, these are blank people, these are X people, and really start looking at the other layers underneath that. And so identity is more than just the superficial, more than just the phenotypical things that you normally see or normally address people as. It's beyond the demographics and the psychographics, but really understanding why people behave the way they do and how those behaviors are influenced by other things. That's really where the exciting insights come from. It's not just, I'm going to target this group of people because they fit this demographic, they live in this area, they have this much income, but understanding why they do things. That's where the real stuff is.
And that's why we have our IPR Behavioral Insights Research Center.
Shocking. Like,
how did I know that you were going to end up here?
How did I
thank you.
All these things
it was amazing.
Well,
it was just natural talent.
I must say, I'm a trained actor. I'm not. But no, it's incredibly important. And these are the things that IPR is doing. And I have to give you credit and applause you and your team of really pushing these things forward, because you are the translator for so much of the academic research that's going on, and that's really important. And I really think that you all should get more applause and more awards for the great things you're doing for the industry. And
thank
for
you.
academia.
Appreciate that. It's very nice. Okay, so here we are in front of the Congress Avenue Bridge in Austin. Do you want to talk a little bit about where we are and why?
This is iconic in Austin because of the bats that live under here. So this is home to a huge bat colony. And at night, like at dusk, people gather on the bridge so they can see the bats leave out. And literally when you see them leave out, it's just like a dark cloud. So watching it from this perspective, you can feel like the world is about to end. The apocalypse is coming. According to one of my friends who was down here and actually was seeing this on the water.
Okay, so this is our last segment. And of course, all the segments are fun, but this is a fun segment. And we took this from James Lipton's Inside the Actors Studio. Iconic, exactly. So we're going to ask a list of questions, and then you just sort of give your reaction and sort of...
Okay.
There you go. You ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay. All right. And I change them every time, so you don't know, nor do I, what's going to
I thought I was prepared,
come back.
but apparently
I don't know. You're not. Okay. So what do you like to do to unwind?
Okay, I like to watch Nordic or British murder mysteries and knit at the same time.
Okay.
And I like to read occasionally, but I probably will be watching murder mysteries and knitting.
That's first. Okay, so you mentioned that you like to read. What are some recommended books you like?
Oh, wow. This is embarrassing. Right now I'm reading Austin Kleon's Show the Work, which is an artist's guide to actually getting out there and putting your stuff out. So that's one book that I'm currently reading. Wow, what else am I reading? I'm reading Under the Tuscan, what is that?
Under the Tuscan Sun?
Under the Tuscan Sun.
Nice.
I love the movie,
okay, yeah.
But I'm actually reading the memoir, which is 100% different, but it's great. And then third, wow, what else am I reading? That's actually fun. I'm reading a book called Black Culture, which is about Black culture in corporate America, and how corporate America sometimes appropriates things from different cultures and doesn't give credit for it.
What?
Shocking, right? Oh my God, never. Yes.
So Austin is the live music capital of the world. What is on your playlist? I was trying to remember what, like, burned CD? What do we use now? What's on your playlist and your mixtape?
I have been listening to Beyonce's Renaissance solidly since it came out.
Nice.
There was a great jazz CD I would listen to during my office hours. Nobody showed up to office hours, so I'm sitting in my office for 2 hours. I'm just listening to jazz music. And there's a great album that came out by Samara Joy that was really good. A lot of jazz classics with a new spin on them. So that was really neat. Other stuff I'm listening to, yacht rock.
Yacht rock. So I feel like you have to define what is yacht rock.
So imagine you're on the coast in Sausalito. You're out on the water, and it's just music that's helping you sway and get in the mood. So, like, it's a mix of things. Sometimes it's Hall & Oates, the Doobie Brothers, and other things like that. Just depends. I listen to it on Amazon Music or on Spotify, and it's yacht rock.
Okay, so if you weren't a professor, director of the world at UT Austin, what profession would you like to attempt?
What profession would I like to attempt? Ooh, that's a good question.
And you can't say a bridge, like
I want to be an engineer who builds bridges. No, like nothing like that. That's a really good question. A philanthropist, because I've always been, I just want to be rich and give away money. That would be an amazing career. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I would do. In my wildest imagination, I'd be like a top-selling mystery author. I'd be like Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote.
I was like, yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'd be that. Except I don't want all those people popping up dead around me because that's weird.
All right, so if there is a God in heaven, when we move to our next phase, what would you want him, her, or they to say as you enter the pearly gates?
when the time comes and I shuffle off this mortal coil.
Yes.
And I'm freed from all the constructs of this body. Basically, like, you really did play that Beyonce song a lot. No, seriously.
I think he can say that to a lot of people.
He probably can say that about. He probably say like yacht rock, really, Hall and Oates all the time. Really, what's wrong with you? You can play music past the 80s, right? But no, seriously, I would think that job well done. You serve. You did a lot of good things for good people. A lot of good things for people. You made a lot of people smile. You made a lot of people feel comfortable. Damn, why did you wear that hairstyle in the 80s and 90s, maybe? But I think mostly it'd be like really good stuff about, hopefully, the good things, the good works that I have done.
I'm not a deity, but I will tell you that you've already accomplished many of those things, having known you for 20 years. So you've always been wonderful and impactful. So
it's always nice to hear those things. And you should tell people that while they're with you.
Still here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's a great way to end this in a car with IPR.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate this.
This is fantastic.
I feel honored to just be a part of this series because I look at the names of people who are on here and they're like CEOs and I'm an academic. I'm just a person who... She's
not just an academic. She is the Dr. Natalie Tindall, who is an amazing person and such a huge influence on our field. So Natalie, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And if you like this episode, please check out our other episodes. We're going to be releasing some more In a Cars with IPR, so make sure you check it out. And thanks for joining us here in Austin, Texas.
Can I say one thing?
Of course you can.
Hit the like button. I always see the YouTubers
hit the like button. That's right. And follow us to get that.
And hit the bell, the alarm, so you'll be notified of when new episodes are coming.
Perfect.
Hey.
Thank you.
I'll be a YouTuber in my next life, I swear.